please sign into YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you are listening to this podcast on iTunes, please rate and review us. Now, enjoy movies that hurt so good with the one and only CineBros.
Here's the plan. We get the warhead and we hold the world ransom for $1 million. 1 million. 1 million. 1 million.
What's up, Cinemaniacs? We're back with movies that hurt so good. This is episode number 3. We are here all the way in Connecticut in More Entertainment Studios. And what we do here is we just watch movies and we talk about movies that just hurt so good. They can either be so good that you love them, you can love that you hate them, you can hate that you love them, but they're just those movies that you go to because they bring you joy. Sometimes they bring you so much pain, they bring you joy. But that's what this show is all about. And we do it every other week. Mm-hmm. And here is my co-host, Mr. What should I call you? The Worm? You worm? Come on, man. We did Rounders last week.
Rounders.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah.
I agree. Very good movie.
Yeah. Some of these movies hurt a little bit more in the gut
Chad
area.
has some hard times with just, movies that most normal people really enjoy. Chad has a difficult time with them from time to time. He gets the snoozies going on.
This was a bad week for me. A bad week for me.
A bad week.
It's all right. I fought through it, and
you fought through it. With your beer and apple.
I don't think that. I don't think that helped any, but.
So this for this episode we had Chad gave me the movie The Big Lebowski. I gave Chad Under Siege, and you guys gave us, Brad Neff, I should say, gave us with the movie that he submitted to our email account, which you can find it over at Gmail. So that's TheCineBros@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Send all your favorite movies that you just love so much. Send them over, and I take them, I write them down on little cards like this, and like the one, where's Brad Neff's? Like this one right here. And I write them down on little cards like that. We throw them in our little popcorn bucket.
Popcorn.
Yeah. Little popcorn bucket. And we pick one out at the end of the show to see who is going to give us our next movie. Now, we have a little key here. Chad is a little sad by some of the movies that everybody's been picking. So we have decided to get 3 vetoes each for a movie that we take out of the bucket, or a movie that we give each other. We can veto up to 3 times in the year for the rest of the year. So that means I have 3
for the year. I thought you for the day.
No, Jesus, we'd run through that bucket in about 4 seconds. I'm actually wearing this because I'm wearing the Great Bambino T-shirt because John Goodman was Babe Ruth in the movie.
Yeah.
So I decided to wear that shirt in honor of John Goodman because he was also had a major role in The Big Lebowski. So, but as far as that goes, we have 3 vetoes each, so that's like 3 strikes from Babe Ruth. You get a little action here.
Old ball game.
And we're gonna get into this, and we're gonna start off with Under Siege. Chad's giving me like the growl look. He's got this anger look on his face. Something that
I can't be angry too long.
Maybe even Steven Seagal might be a little nervous with.
Yeah, he would be scared of my stare down.
So, all right, give us a little rundown of the movie. We need, we're going to do favorite quotes, favorite scenes, and favorite characters in the movie. We'll go through all that, and we'll give it a little rating as well. We'll each do that for each movie that we talk about. Yeah. So, Chad, go ahead. Give it a little rundown.
A little brief synopsis is basically there's a battleship that is carrying nuclear weaponry.
Weaponry?
Weaponry.
Weaponry?
Whatever. And it's already starting.
Weapons of mass destruction.
5 minutes into the
WMDs.
podcast.
Just call it WMDs.
Yeah, whatever. It is I think the battleship was being in the process of being shut down and actually not going to be in operation anymore. Steven Seagal was the cook, disguised as the cook. Really, I mean,
Casey Ryback.
Yep, Casey Ryback. He was the cook. He was the Captain Adams. Captain Adam, maybe.
I don't remember their names.
Yeah, Captain Adams. Yeah,
Okay.
That's amazing that I remember that. Captain Adams.
That is amazing that you remember.
Yeah. Captain Adams' favorite chef, cook. So you know that's why he's on the boat.
Yep.
And him and Gary Busey, who is he is Commander Krill. They headbutt a lot. Butt heads a lot.
They headbutt?
No, they do headbutt too. No, there's some headbutts going on in this movie. But they do butt heads a lot. You know, for some reason, Gary Busey just does not like this guy for some reason. And, you know, later on you find out why. Not really why. The real reason why he hates him, but he just doesn't like him. And
he's not a fan.
He's not a fan of him. He's not
They
a fan
do
of his
not
cooking.
like each other at all.
Yeah. So what happens is it's Captain Adams' birthday, I think, or they're throwing him a surprise birthday. That's the plan. And they're flying in a band. They're flying in the Playmate of the Year for 87 or 86 or whatever year it was.
I don't know.
Yeah. So they ended up flying him in, and that's when the movie really starts taking off, is when because you got Tommy Lee Jones, he's the band leader.
Yeah.
He was in the airplane hitting on the
big time rocker.
Hitting on the Playboy bunny there. And he's looked like a 70s band kind of. He reminded me a lot of Steven Tyler. Like that he reminded me he had the headband on and like he kind of like rocking out and everything. And so they finally land on the ship and everything, and everything's going according to plan. And then out of nowhere, walk in and they just start shooting everybody. They
want to take this boat hostage.
The members of the band, the members of the cooking crew, because what happened before that was Steven Seagal. He was supposed to be the chef of the party.
Yep.
Him and his crew were supposed to, but Gary Busey said no, you're not. We're flying in. We're flying in a professional crew here.
Right.
And they locked him in the meat locker because he wasn't cooperating.
Right.
And they had one of their rookie.
Steven Seagal doesn't need to cooperate.
Yeah, exactly. So they had one of their newest recruits from the ship watch the meat locker.
Right.
And
it always works out really well when you have like some random like new recruit or the guy who sometimes just doesn't even have a name. Look over the main star of the movie. It always works out so well.
Yeah, you always know it's gonna be. Hey, he's not getting out of that meat locker.
The good thing is this kid did not let him out.
No, he didn't. Yeah,
he actually did his job, even though he probably shouldn't have. He might still be alive.
Yeah, he might have. Yeah, there's a good possibility he would have been alive still
if he just let the cook out of the meat locker.
Yep. So at that point, when they start shooting everybody, they round up and obviously at that point they're taking over the ship.
Right.
So they kill off the captain. They kill. Spoiler alert! I mean, from 1980.
No spoiler alerts in this show. That's why me and Chad have talked about it.
Yeah.
He was really ticked. He was like, threatening to quit. I got in my face and he was like, motherfucker, we can't have a 5-year fucking, that's too fucking long. I've only watched movies the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine. So we decided to, imagine if that's how it actually went down.
Yeah. I just walked in the house.
He's like, motherfucker.
Slammed open the door. Motherfucker, listen to me.
We're not doing this shit like that.
It was more like a text back and forth.
Yeah, we were like texting back and forth, and I was like, all right, well, let me talk to you about it in a few seconds. I'll give you a call. So we decided to make it a 3-year window. So it has to be at least 3 years old.
Gives me
he was happy with that. He has more of a window now.
Gives me a little bit better of a window.
Give me some movies. So that's going to be the window now. It's a 3-year gap that we have to have. Anything that's 3 years or older can be in this Movies That Hurt So Good. That's one of those things I didn't mention at the beginning. Yeah. So go ahead.
So they're killing basically anybody that doesn't listen to him, just...
Oh, and like Tommy Lee, the guy's coming down the stairs, and he's like, one of them gets shot, and he goes, and then he goes and shoots another guy, and he goes, not only are we going to kill you, but we're going to kill the person next to you.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
they're
not messing around.
Yeah, they're basically saying we're not fucking around here. Right. We're doing this, So they got hundreds of these Navy guys, hundreds of them. Like
Lots.
There was lots of them. Yeah. I don't know exact count, but there was hundreds of them on there.
Big boat.
Yeah, it was the massive battleship.
They probably killed just in the beginning. They probably killed like 50 people.
Oh yeah,
right
easily. Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just like
it was a slaughter fest right at the beginning.
Good times.
Good times. So they rounded them all up and put them in their own little quarter in the far. I thought it was the front of the ship somewhere. Mm-hmm. And Gary Busey is the one that's supposed to be in charge of making sure everything is going smoothly on this battleship.
Right.
And of course, Gary Busey, as in real life,
he's so level-headed.
As in real life. Is obviously he pays attention to the details all the time.
I'm pretty certain he still has several imaginary friends.
Yeah.
They talk to him all the time.
I mean, recently he was in a commercial for Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was like talking to the lamp or something.
Talking to the answer machine or something, like, and that's just them taping him, like.
Yeah, that's him in real life.
Yeah. So obviously, everything doesn't go according to the plan, and to set it up a little bit better, I tend to forget some things, but one of the better scenes in it did happen before they took over the ship, and he dressed up like a woman, and they announced that he was the Playmate of the Year or whatever, and here he comes, he's doing little dances.
He's got these like huge fake boobs.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was
yeah.
crazy. But that was a good scene. That was funny.
I loved it when he sat down in the chair and he goes, "Do I look like I'm crazy to you?"
Yeah.
And like he's still got all the makeup on. He doesn't have the wig anymore, but he's got like makeup on and like these huge boobs and everything. He's sitting there and he's talking to Tommy Lee and he's like, "Do I look crazy to you?" Because like he was like, "Oh, he's always saying I'm so crazy." He's like, "Oh, I'm saying I'm so crazy." He's like, "Do I look crazy to you?" And he does not have to be wearing that to look crazy.
Yeah,
he has perfected the look of crazy.
Yeah, he's just the epitome of crazy.
Yes, he's awesome.
Might be a good person to hang out with, I guess. To kind of laugh at.
Yeah, if you want to get in trouble.
Yeah, get in trouble.
You're getting a lot of trouble hanging out with Gary Busey because whatever he's on, you're most likely going to get slipped.
Exactly.
And shit's going to go awry.
As the Playboy model found out.
Yeah. Oh my Lord.
You never take anything Gary Busey gives you.
No.
I don't care if it's in real life or in the movies. You just don't do it.
Not even like sealed bottles or anything like that. I don't care. He figures out a way to make the things crazy.
So their whole plan was they were gonna take all these metal like pieces and stuff and kind of construct them together and make like so they can take the missiles out and put them on the different boats and stuff, and that's what they're doing at the time, constructing like all these like rail systems. Lo and behold, old Gary Busey forgot about the old cook. He's in the meat locker.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Oh shit! Who? I think it was Tommy Lee had asked. Who's this guy down here? Yeah. Who are the two guys down there or whatever? Yeah. He would call. That's what it was. Right. The guard had called the sea because they had heard the gunfires. Yeah. And he had asked him, who are these two guys down there? And Gary Busey says, he's just the cook. I don't know, whatever, right?
And Tommy Lee's like, and he was adamant. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to go down there and take care of it right now. And Gary Busey said that. Gary Busey was like, I'm taking care of it. And Tommy Lee was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We got professional like killers here. Like, don't worry about it. They'll go and take care of it.
Yeah, we can take care of them.
Nobody can take care of Steven Seagal.
So they go down to take care of Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
And the only thing that this guard actually did right, I think, was... Oh, no, he didn't do it right. He did tell him the right one. But he came down... I thought I pointed to the wrong locker just on purpose, or the wrong meat locker, but he didn't. Steven Seagal somehow got out of it.
Yeah, he was in the ceiling.
He got into the grate somehow. Whatever, they came down, killed the guard. Well, they asked him where he was, told him where he was, and then they shot him.
Yeah.
Probably would still be alive, like you said, if he would have just opened up the door and let Steven Seagal do his thing.
Yeah.
So they go into the meat locker, and the grate comes down, hits one of them. He jumps down, cracks his neck open, fucking, all this crazy kung fu stuff going on.
Sounds like Roadhouse throat rip, but it wasn't that.
There was a throat rip in this movie, and it was we both referenced it. We were like, yeah, that was the Roadhouse throat rip right there. Mm-hmm. That happened later on in the movie.
Right.
So this is where the action is supposedly supposed to be taking place now. Like, this is where it's going to start, because Steven Seagal is free. He's coming after you. So Tommy Lee Jones finds out that he's free. Mm-hmm. Where is he? He killed a couple of my guys. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Gary Busey's still to the point. Like, I looked at everybody's. He's just a cook.
Credentials, yeah.
Just a cook.
Mm-hmm.
So Tommy Lee Jones told him, you have to go find his credentials. Like, find me his folder and give it to me. It happened to be in the captain's private locker.
Yeah.
Found it, gave it to Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee read it, and he's a Navy SEAL on the Navy SEAL team and everything. This and that. He had
Steven motherfucking Seagal.
He had done something where he had he couldn't be anything but a cook or something else to be on that ship.
Yeah.
So that's why they gave him that title. And he found the captain dead. All this other stuff, like, he laid down and, like, did a little tribute to him and laid down his, like, white suit on him and this and that. And that's when I think kind of triggered in his head, I'm coming after these motherfuckers.
Time to motherfucking kill people.
Yeah.
Time to get Steven Seagal in this motherfucker.
So,
do you think he says that in his own head? He's like,
probably.
It's time to fucking step up.
This guy seems like he's full of himself, like in real life and in the movies.
So.
Yeah.
He actually has he had a reality show for a while where he was one of those. He tracked down people. It was like he was a bounty hunter.
Like a bounty hunter?
Yeah. And he like tracked people down and like he would do stuff like, like grab them by the wrist and like flip them down. But I guess he didn't do it enough, so I don't think.
I heard he used to be a really good martial artist.
He was.
But I heard now he's doing videos now where like all the moves are so fucking slow.
Yeah. He's old and he's kind of fat.
But they're ridiculous because they're supposed to be like serious videos, like how to show you how to do stuff. And like people just make fun of him because it's so goddamn slow. Yeah. But I mean, granted, he is old, but at the same time, like
he's fat now too.
He is fat now too. He got really fat. But
hey, when you got all that 80s and 90s DVD sale money,
hey,
pack on the pounds. Do the opposite of Chris Pratt.
So this pretty much leads up to my favorite scene. He's wandering around the ship looking for people, and comes across he's in one of the rooms, and there's a big cake in the middle. Big cake in the middle.
The music comes on,
and who pops out of the cake? The Playboy model.
Yep. Whatever, 89 or whatever. Yep.
Very nice.
She
is a very
she
nice.
Had as in I would say from Monty Python's The Holy Grail. She had huge tracts of land.
Yes, she was very nice looking. I actually, this is gonna be sad, but when she popped out of the cake, I looked at Dan, my roommate, who I was watching it with, and I said, I remember her from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh my gosh, yes, the newer version of it, yeah. Holy shit.
And she was in an episode of Full House. How I remember that, I don't know.
How do you go from that scene into Full House?
I don't know. It's just stupid things I remember. Wow. I don't know, but the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, yeah, she was in Beverly Hillbillies. I don't know. But after I was done looking at those beautiful things in front of me.
The beautiful things.
But she was drugged by,
Yeah, she's not a good actress.
She's not. She's not. I mean, Beverly Hillbillies was not a good movie at all. But so she was drugged up by Gary Busey. Ended up, Steven Seagal kind of took her under his wing, and she learned really quick how to do stuff. By the way, I mean, she was a Playboy bunny.
Well, dude, you got Hugh Hefner. I mean, you have to low some like self-defense moves if you're going to be in the Playboy Mansion.
Right off the bat,
because he's a little handsy.
Right off the bat, though, she was like, "I'm going to be right with you." Pretty much like, I don't want to be alone.
Right.
That's what she said, because he shoves her into a locker.
Yeah.
She's crying and everything. These guys are going to find out where we are, and we're both going to get killed.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And she did it again when he closed it, and finally he goes, all right, here, I'm going to give you this gun. There's 2 switches on it. 1, semi-automatic. 2 is fully automatic. I want you to stay on 1 because it shoots 1 bullet at a time. I want you at 1 bullet at a time, and that's it. And from that point on, she became a really good gunnist. A gunnist, and it seemed like she'd been shooting guns forever. I mean, because she ended up saving his life at one point. And I mean, she was a true warrior.
This is not one of those movies that is completely believable.
Yeah. No, well, that was one of my...
These were about as real as her boobs.
That was... Oh, boy. So anyway, just to kind of end this movie, like get this movie going a little bit, basically the rest of the movie was Steven Seagal versus all the bad guys. Whooping ass against all these bad guys. 4 of his cafeteria friends were in a room by themselves, hiding, or they were locked in there or whatever, and he got them out. And that was the crew. That was his army team right there. It was an old guy. He was like probably 80 years old. And then a couple black guys. Johnson, most normal, like typical black guy name for the 80s. Like
Johnson.
Yeah,
Smith.
Johnson.
Jones, get over here.
Yeah, like the most basic names they give to the black guys in the 80s. That was typical. But so they ended up pretty much saving the ship after a bunch of like big fight scenes. And, there was other like stuff going on. Like they were shooting from ship to ship, and this and that. And Gary Busey wasn't scared because they don't have ammo over there for those, and they shot off like a fake one at first. A couple fake ones at first, and then the next thing you know, here comes a real one. And boom, hits the water, and Gary Busey, he jumps down and fixes the boat real quick because they were working on the boat. And so, I mean, they end up saving the day. At the end of the day, Steven Seagal saves the day. And
Steven Seagal.
What was her name?
The playmate?
Jordan. Yeah, Jordan. Her name was Jordan. I'm going to reference her as Jordan now.
Okay.
She has a name because she was a true hero in this movie, too. So, the girl power started back in the 80s. Like,
all you have to do is, if you want to be a hero in the 80s or the 80s, 90s action flick, you just first have to come out bearing your breasts.
Yeah.
And then we'll allow you to fire a gun.
Yeah. And then you get a gun. Titties gun. So basically, it wasn't a quick rundown, but it was a rundown of what the movie's basically about. Just
hostage situation, trying to take over, trying to get a lot of money, all that kind of stuff. It's a fun action flick for most people.
The parts that really bothered me was the long, boring talking scenes,
the dialogue,
and it happened more than it should have. Like that whole like round table scenes where they're all just sitting there talking. It was so boring. Like, they didn't need that, really. I mean, they could have done quick little scenes, cut scenes where he was communicating with them, but those scenes were so long, like 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long. There's them talking, and the lingo they were using, didn't really understand what they were talking about half the time. Like, they were using actual jargon from like
military.
The military. Like, for the normal person like me, I have no idea
but
anything
it makes
about the
it
military.
seem more real.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're losing audiences. To me, you're losing an audience because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, those scenes were kind of boring, and like some of the scenes, like with Steven Seagal and the girl, at the beginning when they first met up, like there was a lot of scenes where he was preparing like bombs and stuff like that, and like the scenes going up to that scene were pretty boring to me. I think Steven Seagal is a pretty boring guy as it is. Like the way that he talks, his demeanor, he's very quiet.
He's not monotone.
He's very monotone, and no matter what he's talking about, it's always in that same tone and same. I'm not gonna get excited here, but I can't imitate him. But
I would love to see him excited.
I don't think he gets excited at all. Like, He just has that one tone, and that's it. Like,
it's a great tone. So if you had to pick your favorite character from this movie, who is your favorite character?
I actually asked you earlier if it's possible that you don't have a favorite character in a movie, and you didn't really.
What about Jordan?
You didn't really give me an answer,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just gonna come out and say I did not enjoy anybody in this movie.
Not even Jordan?
Well, yeah, her boobs. Yes. If you want me to be a sexist, yes, and say that the only thing good about this movie was the boobs, then yes, I will say that, because I did enjoy the boobs. But other than that, Tommy Lee Jones, I like. He was not good in this movie. Mm-hmm. Gary Busey is horrible in every movie, so you really can't count like him. Mm-hmm. And Steven Seagal, the same thing. He's horrible in every movie. I told you the one movie I actually liked was probably his worst movie. It was Exit Wounds, and I only liked it because DMX was hot at that time, and I loved DMX, and I thought it was cool that DMX was in a movie. Like, it's kind of like now with RZA. Like, RZA's in some movies, and I actually enjoy those movies, like with RZA in them. They're not bad movies. Like, they're like the kung fu kind of movies, and me and my roommate watch them, and they're not that bad. Like, I can get through them.
All right.
This was very difficult to get through.
You don't have a favorite character.
No, I don't think anybody was worthy. No, I'm not.
Yeah, you picked Jordan. You already did.
No, because she wasn't a good actress in this movie.
But she was your favorite character in the movie?
Her boobs were, yes.
So if you had to pick your favorite scene in the movie.
The boob scene.
And your favorite quote.
The boobs. When she got jumped out and said surprise. Oh my god. All right, I will pick my favorite line. It was actually from one of the when they were going back and forth, when Steven Seagal was going back and forth with the round table guys. Mm-hmm. And the one guy that he was one of the commanders or the chiefs or whatever, and he has dealt with Steven Seagal before, and he basically, up to this point, he had said like he could never control him, or he was always out of whack or whatever, and never listened and this and that. And the quote that I'm going to use, it was Admiral Bates, and he was on the little.
You sure
radio.
He wasn't a master?
No, he was not a Master Bates. He was on the little phone with him, and he says, "Now, since your ass is on the line, sailor, I authorize you right now to do whatever you can to aid in the arrival of the SEAL team. Because if I goddamn can't control you, I might as well support you, correct?" And then Steven Seagal responds back with, "That's affirmative, sir." I thought that was kind of funny. It just, like, that kind of showed, like, Steven Seagal's character, like, how he didn't listen to authority and didn't have any rules. I mean, I know how that is because I don't have any rules either.
Yeah,
so.
You're fucking defiant as a motherfucker.
So, yeah, I would have to go with that as my favorite quote. You got a favorite character?
My favorite character is by far Gary Busey. Because he is so horribly awesome in this movie, as he is in most movies. And even when he's trying to be good, he's just stiff and rigid. Like, when you can see when he's actually trying to focus on lines, he kind of changes. His demeanor almost seems like a deer in headlights. Mm-hmm. I love that. I think it's hilarious to watch. Because the way that he does it, that behind the gloss in his eyes, there's a fucking shitload of fireworks and crazy. I love when he's on the screen because it makes me laugh so much. Mm-hmm. If I had to pick a favorite scene, it would be the knife fight scene between Steven Seagal and Tommy Lee. That is just a very well done.
See, I thought it was horrible
scene. You gotta realize it's not gonna be like the modern fight scenes, or you could have it be like Vin Diesel, where he picks up a car and like throws it at Jason Statham, or have a wrench fight up on top of a roof.
Yeah, but there was other movies that I've seen from this era that have done better scenes than that. To me, that scene,
it's the most memorable scene for me.
No, and that's fine. I'm not taking any credit away from that. I mean, but I'm just saying, in my eyes, I thought it was horribly shot. And it looked like when they were doing the cuts, they didn't do the correct cuts, and it looked like you could tell they weren't fighting each other, like in real life. Like they were doing it all with stunt doubles, like you would see like one scene where you were like over the shoulder of Tommy Lee, and you could tell it wasn't him, and it was, all it was Steven Seagal going like this. Like this, like not even doing anything.
What are you supposed to do with a knife?
It was cut. The way that it was cut. No. Yeah, but it looks so fake that it was, to me. And I'm glad you brought that up, because me and Dan talked about that when we were watching the movie. And it was just like one of those scenes where I just think it's funny that you thought it was one of the better scenes.
I think it's just a fun.
But the way that it was cut was so bad. Like I'll
have to go back and watch it again.
You have to, because scene. Like maybe because you haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Like that scene. But I just thought the cuts were so bad in it that it looked really fake. Like, but I could see how you could think, like, if you didn't really look at it, or that you haven't seen it in a while, maybe it was probably one of the better scenes in it. But when I looked at it and I saw it, the first thing that popped in my head was like, this was just a bad cut scene. Like, it just looked really fake.
Okay, they edited it poorly.
That's what I'm saying. They cut it. Yeah, they cut it really bad. The edits was really bad.
Right. But my quote is going to be from Tommy Lee's character. He's talking to Gary Busey. And what he says is, "You're a maniac. You're drowning your own crew?" And Commander Krill goes, "They never liked me anyway." And then Dahmer, who's like another kind of evil character, I can't remember what the guy that plays him, but he goes, "I bet they fucking love you now, huh?" Like,
you know who that was, right?
I've seen him in a bunch of movies.
That's the dad from Get Him to the Greek. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
I've never seen that.
You never seen Get Him to the Greek with Jonah Hill?
No, I don't think. No, I didn't know.
What?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I've seen that like 20 times.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, such a great movie.
But yeah, so you have those three characters, and they kind of have this quick interaction. You're a maniac, drowning your own crew.
Yep.
They never liked me anyway, and I bet they love you now.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
I like that. I think it's one of those classic kind of like 80s, 90s kind of like quick one-liner kind of, cracks that kind of get a cheap laugh.
Yeah,
and I like it. I liked it a lot. But so yeah, those are my favorite three. What did you have to, if you had to rate this out of 10?
I don't know, man. It's
just say it. Say what your rating is. Don't be.
I hate to give movies like a really bad rating unless it's like really terribly bad. And this movie wasn't really terribly bad. It was bad, but it wasn't terribly bad. I guess I could. One of these movies where I could see how some people might have liked it back in the early 90s. So it's tough for me to rate it like now. But now to be honest with you, I'd give it like a 4.
Wow, that's a pretty terrible score.
Yeah.
All right, if I had to rate this movie out of 10, I would have to give this. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Movies like this, the more people that you have that kind of enjoy it, the more it takes itself up a notch. Like, it just brings it up another level.
So me and my roommate made fun of it the whole time.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to sit there and then just go back and forth, because I'd be saying things, and that, because I love that part because of it, and you guys are just trashing it, and I would.
He didn't trash the whole movie. I trashed the whole movie.
No,
but at the same time, he said like it didn't hold up because he hadn't seen it since he was young.
Right.
It came out in '92, so we were 10 years old when it came out. So he was probably in the 12 range when he watched it, and that was the last time he's seen it. And
I think I saw that in the theater. I think I was 14 when I came out.
But after the movie, he just said like it just was one of those movies that didn't hold up.
I enjoy that movie. I find it quite the guilty movie pleasure. The movie that hurts so good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it. The movie that you gave me was the Big Lebowski, and this movie is about the dude who is Jeff Lebowski, and he happens to get kind of mixed up with a millionaire who also has the name Jeffrey Lebowski. And what happens is there's these guys that come into the dude's house and just shove his head right in the toilet, trying to like get some information out of him, because apparently his wife owes a lot of money to a lot of people. And he's like, I'm not even married, man. Like, what are you doing? I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, do I look like I'm married? I don't have a wedding ring on.
And nobody calls me Lebowski.
Yeah, and he's like, nobody calls me Lebowski. I'm the dude, man. I'm the dude. And so he's getting all these, and they're like, kind of looking at him and being like, you know what? This guy that we're looking for is supposed to be a millionaire. He does not look like a millionaire. Man. He's got like a loose tank top on, these like crappy pants or shorts with like slip-on shoes and like just looks so awesomely dudish.
Yeah, exactly.
He is fantastic. Always has shit in his beard and his mustache. He's just awesome.
Always drinking a White Russian.
Always drinking a White Russian. Sometimes he calls it a Caucasian.
Yep.
He gets these guys come in his house and they're all pissed off at him because it's not they got the wrong guy, and one of them just takes a leak on his carpet. Pisses which right tied the room together. Yeah. That tied the whole room together. And that is what set off everything because he goes to the bowling alley because they go to the bowling alley to bowl a lot. Yeah. No matter what happens,
it's a league.
We just need to go bowl. They are at the bowling alley, and this is where you get introduced to John Goodman. Yep. John Goodman is all pissed off. Yep. All pissed off that his rug got pissed on. Oh, yeah. And he is spinning it so that so he can get the dude to go and confront the actual Big Lebowski and get his either carpet paid for or redeemed somehow. That's where it kicks off. So he goes there. This guy's not happy with him. He gets thrown out. But you also get Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he is like kind of like the butler almost to the Big Lebowski. And the funny thing about when I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was so young in this movie. But when I saw him, I was like, holy shit. He looks like Brendan Fraser in Bedazzled when he was the basketball player. I'm like looking at this guy and I'm like, he looks so ridiculously weird in this movie. Yeah. I don't know what it was. I don't know if they made him. It was almost like Macaulay Culkin grew up and because he had these pink lips, a very pale face, blonde hair, and he just looked so weird. And he was always like, and you don't see Philip Seymour Hoffman like all like this. He's kind of more serious and like laid back in most movies. And eventually, what happens after that is somebody kidnaps his the Big Lebowski's wife, who is Bunny, and she is Tara Reid. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here watching this and I go, holy shit, that's Tara Reid. And my wife goes, is it? I was like, yeah, that's a young Tara Reid. And she's like, oh my God, it is. And your first introduction to her, she's talking to the dude and goes, I'll suck your dick for $1,000. And he's just like, you can see him kind of be like, oh. Like, and Philip Seymour Hoffman's like all embarrassed. He's like kind of, oh my gosh, she's so crazy.
We know we love you or something like that.
Yeah, we're crazy. And then she goes, but I'm not gonna let him watch. Yeah, and he's like,
that'd be $100.
And she's like, unless you pay me $100.
And then that's when the dude goes.
He goes, I'll go to the cash machine.
I'm gonna go to the cash machine.
I'll be right back. Like he has $1,000.
Your conversation with your wife was pretty much the same conversation I had with Dan. We were sitting there and I was like, dude, that's Tara Reid. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, that's Tara Reid. No, that's not. No, that's Tara Reid. I actually had to bring up IMDb.
That's Tara Reid before Trainwreck. Yeah. Before she got all freaking...
That was right before Van Wilder.
Yeah. That was like back when she had promise.
Yeah. Oh. Well, she still does now. She's in Sharknado.
That's a spoof on... Like, she is...
Blockbusters, man.
They're not blockbusters. She's not gonna live. She's not gonna be the potential millionaire actress that she had the potential before. She really took a turn.
She blew it.
She took a bad turn.
Yeah, she definitely blew it.
So you get this movie and it just kind of, so somebody kidnaps Bunny. I'm gonna put that in quotes because nobody actually kidnapped her. She just kind of took off for a while and just was like, see you later. But somebody sent a ransom note to the Big Lebowski. Yeah. He was all sad. And the dude and the Big Lebowski meet up again, and this time he's sad and he wants to get the Big Lebowski to kind of make a transfer of money and all that kind of stuff. He wants to be the mule almost to kind of give this money to the bad guy so that this way he can get his wife back. Mm-hmm. And shit goes terribly wrong. Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes so bad. I mean, the dude is so clueless about everything. It's funny. at the same time, you're kind of like, how the fuck can this guy carry a movie like this? He does, and he does it pretty good. But I mean, you have just the banter between him and all the characters.
Yeah.
And I think the characters in this movie really held it together more than him per se, because he's like so aloof, relaxed, and chill, and doesn't really care, but he's also at the same time high strung, and it's like you're almost just following the people around him, but he's the center of attention. And I can't really explain it. He did a great job of playing the dude, Jeff Bridges.
He's pretty much playing himself. You know that, right? Jeff Bridges.
I have no idea what he's like in real life.
Oh, I've listened to interviews. Like he was on the Mark Maron show. He was on the Nerdist, and that's how he is. He's really relaxed, laid back, talks very like slow and very careful what he says. And
well, he was not careful what he says here.
No, he's not. But
the word "fuck" was dropped about 787 times. I mean, it was like every other word. And I tell you, you had mentioned before that you thought that this might be John Goodman's best role.
One of his best roles, yeah.
I think he was really good in this. I love John Goodman.
Yeah.
I love him a lot, and I think that his reaction back and forth with the dude was really good. And most importantly,
Buscemi
shut
too.
the fuck up, Donnie!
Buscemi? It's Steve Buscemi, yeah.
You can't just come in and out of conversation. You're not here for the whole thing. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, that back and forth was just great. I mean, he blew a gasket all the time, and he always started referencing Nam. He was in Vietnam, and he just kind of talking about it over and over, and find out any way. You could be talking about a kitten crossing the road, and he would somehow figure out how to turn that into a Nam story. Yeah. It was great. He was just phenomenal. All the characters in this, you got Julianne Moore, who was in this, and she was great as the sister to the Big Lebowski, and oh my gosh, like your introduction to her, there's nobody that can get introduced to a movie any differently, any more weird than she did. Come flying over his head, painting naked. She's just like flinging paint all around, and oh my god, it's so hilarious. And then you have the movie go on. They're kind of trying to figure out all this way to he keeps thinking about all these things that are going on in his head about who's actually the person that's kidnapped Bunny. Did Bunny kidnap herself? And did she to try and get more money, because she had an allowance that she was on, a generous allowance according to the Big Lebowski. So that's where he went. He was like, oh, Bunny probably did it. She probably kidnapped herself so she can get more money. And that John Goodman goes off, and they start going on a venture to figure that out. That doesn't come out right. Then the Big Lebowski tracks Jeff Bridges down, or tracks the dude down after a while, because the dude's not answering any phone calls from him anymore, because that got fucked up serious. He lost the briefcase with $1 million in it, or $1 million. Who knows if it actually had the money in it? I don't remember. But he lost the money, and then you had the Big Lebowski found him, and he gave him this wrap thing that was wrapped up in like gauze. He's like, this is what's going on in it. And he opens it up, and there's a toe in it, which led to probably my favorite scene. After that fact, when they sealed up all about the toe and everything like that, and had a green nail polish on, because they did a close-up of Bunny's foot in the movie to kind of make sure that that there is it was a toe with green nail polish on it. So somebody cut off her toe, and that's what the Big Lebowski thought. Well, that's not what happened, but he brings it to the coffee shop, and he doesn't know this, and he thinks that she's going to die. Like, he's all worried. The dude thinks, but he meets John Goodman's character over there to kind of, go over everything, and he is just like livid. He's like, oh, a toe? He's like, that's no big deal. He's like, a fucking toe? He's like, I can get you a toe this afternoon by 3 o'clock. He's like, give me a couple hours. I'll get you a toe, and I'll even get it with painted nail polish. He's like, it'll be fine. Get a toe. These kids are amateurs. He kept on saying how much of an amateurs these kidnappers were. And just everything about him is just so incredibly awesome. I love all the characters. I mean, I thought that Steve Buscemi in this movie was the most normal looking I've ever seen him ever in any movie. He looked like a normal person,
Yeah.
not the caricature of himself that he is in like the Adam Sandler movies or in just about any other movie he's ever been in.
Yeah.
He looks so creepy and weird.
Yeah.
This movie, he looked like your average guy.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just, and of course, you know, as the movie goes on, he ends up having a heart attack when
Yeah.
shit starts going down outside the bowling alley.
Yeah.
But oh my Lord, this movie, it was really good from start to finish. They kind of figured everything out sort of at the end,
Yeah.
and the dude is fine. You had, what's his name? Sam, that was kind of like the narrator.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, right.
Yeah, the stranger.
So Sam Elliott is, and he has like an infatuation with it. I always thought that Sam Elliott was kind of playing like a homosexual cowboy and was interested in the dude like that.
Yeah.
And you never really found out much about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of, they just parted ways. Dude went about his business. Sam Elliott went about his business. And, you know, that was great. But, I mean, if I had to pick my favorite quote from this movie, my favorite quote from this film has to be from Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
When he actually meets up,
John Turturro.
because he's all pissed off because John Goodman, because of it's like it's, I don't know, some kind of Jewish holiday.
Yeah.
He's not Jewish in the movie, but he converted when he got married. But he's been divorced for about 5 years,
Yep.
they said. So like he actually has no reason to continue. But the problem is that he likes, I think, having the day of Saturday off,
Yeah.
where he has nothing, he can't do anything, he can't work,
Yeah.
can't drive, he can't talk on the phone unless it's in a case of emergency.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of what it is, and he gets all pissed off, and because they have a league game, like one of the playoffs that matches scheduled on a Saturday, and he told the person who runs it he cannot play on Saturday because of this holiday.
Yeah.
So he's all pissed off, through a big shitstorm of and he ended up getting the game moved to a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Well, Jesus was not happy about that, and this is after John Goodman during a match pulled a gun on somebody because he stepped over the line. Like, he's like, foot crossed the line, it's a 0. He's like, no. He's like, mark it down an 8. He's like, no, it was a fucking 0. He's like, you crossed the line, you're gonna take a 0.
The dude was like, just let it go.
Yeah, the dude was like, whatever, who cares? It's just a game. He's like, it's a league match. You know, he's always all pissed off. He takes his gun out and points it right at his face. He's like, tell him to mark down a 0. And he gets him to fucking mark down a 0. Of course, the cops get called and all that kind of stuff as they're walking out of the building.
What was funny was they're sitting in the car and you see the cops
Yeah.
flying out, and they're just having a normal
They're just-
conversation.
yeah, they don't care. They just do whatever. So this is after that already happened. But Jesus comes up and he confronts them. He goes, "You ready to be fucked, man? I see you rolled your way into the semis." He goes, "Dios mío, man. Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up." And then, so you have the dude and John Goodman who are just standing there. He's just sitting there. And he goes, "Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man." So that's the dude talking back to Jesus.
Yeah.
And then Jesus says, "Let me tell you something, Bendejo. You pull any of that crazy shit with us, you flash a piece out in the lanes, I'll take it away from you and stick it up your ass and pull the fucking trigger till it goes click." And when he does that, he does like a little hump thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know what it is about these guys, and they're fucking doing the little hump to get people riled up.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it makes me roll. And then the dude is just like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And Jesus says to him, he says, "You said it, man. Nobody fucks with Jesus." And then, of course, because before this, you had Walter talking to the dude about Jesus and how he had to go around and tell everybody in his neighborhood that he was a sex offender because he flashed an 8-year-old.
Yep.
Not funny, but the way it was done in this movie was kind of silly, kind of funny. They showed Jesus' character walking around, going and knocking on
the
doors.
very first door that
he knocked on it. Was
the
like
guy.
this big, he was not happy to see him there. And then Walter, of course, at the end just looks at the dude after Jesus goes on this big rant, and he just goes, 8-year-olds, dude. It's like, holy shit, man.
That was probably one of my favorite John Turturro,
So he had such a small role in this.
Small role, but awesome.
But the time that he was in, and he's sitting there and he first gets introduced and he's like,
He's
like
licking the
tonguing the
ball.
ball. He's like, My wife laughed at that.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh my Lord!" And then she bowled it down and did a strike. And like he's sitting there and like they're Walter and dude are sitting there. He did this dance and he came back and he's like doing all this crazy stuff. And then you look back. at Walter and the dude. They're sitting there talking, and then they pan back, and Jesus and his buddy that are bowling together have these like things, and they're like shaking the balls, and they're kind of like this. And he's the guys that you can see he's kind of trying to copy him to be cool like him. He's like doing the same thing, trying to clean the ball or whatever the hell they do, polish it. It's so freaking awesome. But he had such a small role, but it was so good.
Dude, they did such a great job picking the music for this movie. Like, the music in the background, and in every scene that there was music, like it seemed like it was the perfect song. Like it could have been a 1940s.
A lot of Eagles. There was a little Eagles, a lot of Creed.
Yeah, like it was just like crazy how they were going from era to era with music, and it was awesome. Like, obviously, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
yeah, well, it was a pretty darn good movie. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite character out of this movie, that would make it tough. It would either be probably Julianne Moore. I really liked her in it. I thought she did a really good job at being an eccentric kind of weird person who apparently wanted to have the dude's baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that interaction. She's sitting there. Right after they had sex, she just shows up at his house one day. It's like, all right, we have to have sex. And like he's like, okay. So they go and they have sex, and he goes in the other room, make a White Russian, of course. And he comes back, and she's kind of like got her legs up, and she's rolling around and doing all this kind of stuff. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? She has you taking a sip of a White Russian, of course. She's like, oh, this enhances the chance of conception. And he's like, he spits it everywhere. He's like, whoa, what? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. I don't expect you to play any role in this at all. And he's like, oh, I'm so confused right now. It was great. So it would either be Julianne Moore's character. I really liked Jesus' John Turturro, or John Goodman. I mean, it's really tough. It's like a toss-up, but I would probably say Julianne Moore. I think her character is so off the wall, and not a character that you see her play very often. Yeah. I liked it a lot. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. So who was your favorite character?
I gotta go with the dude.
The dude?
Yeah, he's just... I loved him. The whole movie. Everything that came out of his mouth was awesome. He just quick-witted, like, with his little jabs that he threw out and stuff, and his responses to everything. Yeah. Like, just very,
it's your opinion, man.
Yeah, just really relaxed, but at the same time,
he's
hilarious.
So high-strung, too.
Yeah.
He's like so relaxed, but he's also like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he just loses it like that. And it's pretty funny to watch. I mean, you get to bring this back around, because one of the movies that we talked about originally, or the movies that hurt so good when we were doing it all in that one episode, was Roadhouse. Yeah. And the guy, Brad, Brad Wesley in that movie, who was the bad guy, he was Jackie Treehorn in The Big Lebowski, and which is pretty cool that you get to see him kind of play this character again, and kind of be kind of like a bad guy, but he has such a small role that he's not really the bad guy. So this movie was really well done. What was your favorite quote?
Right at the beginning, they had his head in the toilet. Yeah. And then they finally found out, like, this is not the guy. And they're walking out, and one of the thugs grabbed the bowling ball. Yeah. And he's holding it.
Yeah. What the fuck is this?
What the
just
fuck
drops
is this?
It right on the floor.
And the dude looks at it and he goes, well, obviously you don't play golf. Like from that point on, like you're going to get this like wise ass fucking guy out of the dude. I loved it. Like right at the beginning, just like laughing at the beginning.
Yeah. It was really well done. If you had to pick a favorite, did we do favorite scene for you? No. What's your favorite scene in the movie?
I like the whole like whacked out scene where they're singing and dancing, and it's like the mushroomy kind of scene.
I know what you're talking about. Like they're tripping.
That whole scene right there. I love that whole scene
where he's like, and then all of a sudden he's getting chased by cops. Or something. It's like he was.
I would have to. That would probably be my favorite. Either that or the second time they were at the bowling alley and he pulled out the gun. Yeah, like I love that scene too. It's just. Yeah, anything John Goodman was doing was a good scene.
There's so many good scenes. I mean, one of my favorite ones, and I can't really narrow it down to one because there's a lot of good ones. If I had to just pick another one that we haven't talked about yet, it would be when they're in the car getting ready to deliver the cash to
Yeah.
the bad guys that have supposedly kidnapped Bunny, who was never kidnapped. She just went to Vegas for like a long week, just because she wanted to have some fun.
Yep.
And apparently she like told these porn star people that she was going to be going away for a while, and you could probably get some money off my husband if you said I was kidnapped, because I'm going to be gone for a week. Just make sure that you get it before the week's up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you have all that. But I loved when they were going and they were trying to track down these people to deliver the money. And he's on the phone, and they're so stupid that he's on the phone and he's like, he keeps saying, we're going to deliver the money. And they're like, he's like, what do you mean we? It's only supposed to be you. He's like, the driver. And then John Goodman's in the side. He's like, he keeps saying shit. And it's like, you can know it's going to go so incredibly bad. And they finally get there, and John Goodman's like, no, man, we got to keep this money. We'll throw this bag that was filled with his dirty underwear.
Yeah.
Well, originally, he was going to just get out of the car. They were going to give him the fake bag, and he was going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Well, then they get a call, and he's like, we got to throw it over the bridge. So he's like, we can't do that. We can't throw the because they're going to get it and find out right away.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. He's like, trust me. And so you get it, and they throw the bag. John Goodman throws the dirty underwear bag over and jumps out of the car with this looks like it's a gun, all wrapped up in like newspaper and shit. And he jumps out of the car to try and go and run down there to go beat the shit out of somebody. But when he does, he falls. The gun falls, starts shooting everything in sight, hitting the gun, hitting the car. It almost like hit him. Yeah. He's like, and everything's going off. And then he just gets up. The bikers take off, because that's who the bad guys are. They're on motorcycles, and they just take off. They bolt. And the dude's just like, oh my God, she's going to die. She's going to get killed. Oh, and he's all freaked out and worried. And John Goodman just gets up and is like, oh well,
yeah,
let's go bowl.
Yeah,
let's go bowl. Yeah. Like nothing happened. It's just like, we still got the $1 million.
Yep.
And then they go bowl, and then what happens? His car gets stolen, which had the $1 million briefcase in it. Yeah, there's so many good funny scenes in this movie. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It is ridiculous. If you were gonna rate this out of 10. What would you give this out of a 10?
It's definitely a 9 for me.
A 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty near perfect for me.
It's not a perfect movie for me.
Near perfect.
Yeah. It's. I would have to say, for me, it's probably an 8. 8 out of 10. I really liked it. There were times that I was kind of like, this movie's just weird. Like, there's no real point to it at all. It's like they just filmed these people and let them just talk and ramble on. And
the Coen brothers.
Yeah, and it's good, and I really enjoyed it. But I wouldn't, I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, so that's that. That's a good movie. I'm glad you gave me that one, because I had not watched it, and I had been meaning to watch it for a while. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Thank you for the Big Lebowski.
Thank you.
The Big Lebowski.
Thank you for thanking me.
You're welcome. Which brings us to our last movie. Lethal Weapon motherfucking 4. Who was given to us when we picked out of the bucket last week. Brandon picked it out of the bucket. Picked up Lethal Weapon 4 from Brad Neff, who gave us that movie. I have a feeling, I just have a slight feeling that he gave us all 4 of them. I have a feeling if I pick another Lethal Weapon movie out of there, it might get vetoed by someone other than myself. Because I think that someone didn't really like it as much as I think that most people do. But anyway, we'll get into that. So, Chad.
Most people like this movie?
Yes.
What?
Lethal Weapon?
I don't have to take a poll on that one, because... No, maybe Lethal Weapon, the first one or the second one, but
they were
the
all
fourth
great.
one?
I love this movie.
I don't know, man. It was all right. It was better than Under Siege, but
So anyway, you are the person that run through this movie. I don't know how you're going to do it with the snippets when you close your eyes for a few seconds. Tell us a little bit about this buddy cop movie.
It wasn't as bad as you're making it. I didn't think it was terrible, but at the same time, I did fall asleep a couple times.
Yes, you did.
And
I got pictures of it too. I'll post it.
And when I do my ratings of movies, if I fall asleep, I deduct points every time I fall asleep. I fell asleep 3 times in this movie, so I'm gonna have to give this a really high score.
It was like
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Uncle Benny.
Hey. Yeah, I feel bad that I did fall asleep, but I had a long night last night. There was some comedy in it, but not enough for me to actually stay awake to.
Comedy and action, man.
It's hard to explain my kind of action movies that I like. Mm-hmm. I'm not the big. It's hard for me to say that because I do like the Fast and Furious movies, even the new ones, and that's like explosions and stuff like that.
And they said this right at the end. They're like, "We're family." At the end.
No, I know. Yeah, and we both laughed when they said that. I just did. I enjoyed most of the action. Like the first scenes were cool. Like to open up the movie with big fucking explosions and shit. No. I liked it.
That guy all dressed up in like that gear, and he was like shooting the flamethrower.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool scene.
The automatic weapon that just for some reason never ran out of bullets.
He
was firing that shit a lot too.
Yeah. I was reading on IMDb some of the goofs and the kind of things that you kind of miss. And there was like maybe 9 times in that movie where they actually shot more bullets that were allowed in their gun. They do it all the time in movies. Yeah. I kind of hate it when they nitpick like that. They're like, "Oh, he had a 6-shooter and they shot 7 times."
Yeah.
Like, all right,
you've
seen the movie too many times for one. If you're counting bullets now, all right. But the movie wasn't as bad as you made it feel like I hated it that much.
Yeah.
But I think it has to do with a little bit of Danny Glover and Mel Gibson being old. And he admits it in the movie too, so that's kind of funny. Well, that's kind of a running theme
throughout the movies is that you have Danny Glover always saying, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
All right, so I haven't seen the first 3.
Because he's always on the precipice of being retired.
Yeah.
So he wants to retire, but for some reason then when he got paired up with Mel Gibson in the first movie, it just seemed like, oh, okay, I have a new partner, and he's making him kind of hang around longer than he kind of wants to.
And they had really good chemistry. Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoyed their banter back and forth. I didn't enjoy it as much as Joe Pesci and Chris Rock going back and forth.
They were funny.
That was
okay.
Joe Pesci's always funny no matter what he does. So, and Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians of all time.
He did not. There was 50% of the time in this movie when he was acting.
Mm-hmm.
He did a poor job. He was not a very good actor. You could tell he was really new to the acting side of it.
Yeah.
He was really funny though because he slipped into his stand-up comedy routine kind of throughout this, and you could tell when he did that, it got funny.
Yeah.
But when he kind of tried to act, sometimes it was a little not really all that good.
So the basic synopsis of it's a very simple plot. It was pretty much human trafficking.
Yeah.
And that's the plot. Like
and
they're
slavery.
stopping. Slavery.
And so Danny Glover, obviously being a black man, has he feels like inside of him like he needs to help this out because his ancestors have he's slavery, and he actually slipped up in this movie. We noticed that he said something along the lines of like, my ancestors didn't survive in this movie, and it's like I was kind of like, well, if your ancestors didn't survive, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here right now.
I was like, I understood what he was trying to be heartful and meant. But it's a buddy cop movie, like all of them.
Yep.
And as they've gone on, they've gotten a little less serious. The first one I would say is the most serious. It definitely has one of the best, like, kind of climactic scenes at the end that leads to a good fight scene. And so you have a buddy cop movie goes throughout. You have Mel Gibson's Renee Russo, who's pregnant, and they're not married, and it shows like how he's struggling with marriage and why he didn't propose to her and all that kind of stuff, which is a little heartfelt. Very, very minimal times that there's heartfelt moments in this, but the couple of times they do a good job of getting to it quick and making it believable. And you have the relationship between him and Danny Glover. You also have the side characters like Chris Rock and Joe Pesci, who Joe Pesci was like an informant and now is a private eye, and is also, thinking that he can, kind of solve crimes and stuff on his own. And it's just hilarious to watch and play out.
Yeah.
And Chris Rock is
the new guy.
He's the new guy, but the daughter, who is also pregnant, Danny Glover doesn't know who the father is, and I think he said that he thinks she's dating someone, but they haven't gotten married yet, and all that stuff, which kind of bugs him. He wants his daughter to be married before she gives birth and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of bugging him, and they find out. Rene Russo slips up when Mel Gibson and her are walking on the beach, and he finds out that it's Butters, who is Chris Rock. That is the father, and they are he's not only the father, but he's also married to her. That they got married right after they found out she was pregnant, and they just haven't told the father yet. The mother knows, Danny Glover's wife knows, but Danny Glover doesn't know. He's like the only one that doesn't know now.
And the whole time, Danny Glover's wondering why Chris, Butters is like
keeps like
buttering up to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wonder if that had anything to do with their name.
I liked all the different names that they called him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One of them was Butt Kiss.
Butt Kiss.
He kept on naming all these different names for Butters, Bitters, and all that kind of stuff. Biters. Chris Rock's character was really laying it on thick that he respected Danny Glover. Danny Glover's like, do you think he's like gay? Like he's homosexual?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, maybe. He's like, this isn't the army.
You know what they said?
This isn't the army. This is the police force. He's like, it's probably fine to be.
That's what Captain said. Captain goes, you got the new guys in here.
So, exactly. And So he gets all kind of weirded out because he thinks Chris Rock is hitting on him. And there's a couple of funny scenes throughout the movie.
But when he looked at him the first time when he caught it.
Yeah, and he
looked at it and he's like.
Yeah. and then you have a later one where Danny Glover's in the locker room and Danny Glover's in his underwear. And Chris Rock walks around the corner and he jumps behind his locker and rips up his pants to kind of he's like, oh. And of course Chris Rock is has no idea what the fuck he's doing. But it was really funny to see that stuff play out.
I think I saw Danny Glover in his boxers a little too much in this movie. Right at the beginning, clucking like a chicken.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of his
boxers. I just want to see if you do it.
Yeah.
He's like, do you think the clucking worked? No. I just wanted to see if you would do it. I think it's so great. The chemistry that they have in all the movies is so awesome. There has been talks over the course of the last several years of possibly doing a number 5. I don't know exactly where they would go with it, but I'd be in for it because
they can do anything.
Yeah, it could be a lot of fun. I would love to see where Mel Gibson and Rene Russo's relationship is now. Who knows? With Chris Rock, he might make a return. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is hilarious in this movie, as he is in most of them.
Wait! And the one character we haven't mentioned yet,
Jet Li. That mullet is ridiculous on him.
Sick.
Ridiculous. I had a mullet when I was in junior high. I had a mullet.
We got to get some pictures of that.
I had a mullet.
We got to get some pictures of that.
I had lines all zipped on the side. I was a total hick. It was bad. It was really bad. It was bad. And I had a mullet for a good probably year back when it was cool to have a mullet.
Was it ever cool to have a mullet?
It was cool
that
for
must have been
Rob Dibble and me and some wrestlers.
I think at my time it was the rat tail. It was
Slater, AC Slater had that fluffy mullet.
Yeah.
And Mel Gibson had a mullet in the first couple of Lethal Weapons. Not so much in this one.
Yeah. No, the mullet was cool at one point, I guess. I don't think
Chad gives his stamp of approval for a couple of years.
I don't think I've ever known anybody in my lifetime that actually had a mullet. And you're the first person.
You do now. I don't have one anymore.
No, I know that, but
should I get the handlebar mustache, grow the mullet back out?
Yeah, just do it. Why not?
Everything all these trends.
It's coming back. Maybe you'll bring it back.
Hey, if somebody could do it, it's me or Zach Morris.
Big thing in Canada. Might be big in Canada.
We are. We're getting more views from people in Canada. Let's talk about
this right now, all right?
We're getting more views in Canada than we are in the U.S. And it's not like we're getting 12 views per episode. We're getting 500 views, and 280 out of the 500 were from Canada. 220 from the U.S. We got people. We have friends. We know people in the U.S. We can't get our friends to watch it. I guess so. Shit.
We might have to take this live.
Yeah, we need to go up to Vancouver.
Get our passports. Get the Saskatchewan or whatever it's called.
Hell yeah.
And Nova Scotia.
I told you, man. We gotta get our Labatt's Blue and our we gotta get that shit, Molson Golden. Get that shit, sponsored, man. We gotta do this shit, man. That is crazy. That was crazy when I read that stat. I was like, I cannot believe that.
That's crazy.
That was insane that we had more views, and they watched longer too.
Do you think
they were watching almost twice as long as our friends were?
Do you think they have like a little bar or something, like a chain of bars that like they wait and all right, the podcast is out, so tomorrow night we're showing it for everybody. Like we're on maybe 25 screens coming around.
Yeah,
and it's us.
And they play it on repeat.
Yeah,
over the course of a 24-hour period.
I think so. I think they might do that.
They just might. Maybe we'll get invited up there someday.
Hey, if you're Canadian and you want us up there, I mean, if you have an extra room,
they're actually we're gonna get to the border and be like, no, we're not gonna let you in. We're not letting you in. We're not gonna let you in, Deep Sockets and Captain Giggles. Get the fuck out of here.
They got their own shirts up there with us on the shirts, like Deep Sockets, Captain Giggles,
Captain Giggle Squints,
and me with a little captain hat on, me just laughing
with minis all over me.
Starburst minis. I was sold everywhere up in Canada.
Yeah, and we should get some sponsorship about that. Seriously, where are all these sponsorships at? Fuck. Jeez.
Oh
so
my
yeah,
God.
I was blown away about that. And this movie to try and reel back in here I enjoyed this movie a lot. This was a Lethal Weapon movie for me. It was good, entertaining, comedic, action. Jet Li was Jet Li in this movie.
Yeah.
He had an evil role, which is cool. Mm-hmm. You don't get to see that very often with Jet Li. And all the characters like Uncle Benny. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, this is so great. So what is your favorite quote from this movie?
I have it right here. It actually comes from Chris Rock, Lee Butters.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have been, he was talking about a cell phone. It might have been with Joe Pesci. Oh yeah, it was between him and Joe Pesci because they were talking about telemarketers calling and stuff like that and getting your number and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Butters goes, someday somebody took my phone number and called Afghanistan. Afghanistan? I've never talked to anyone in Afghanistan. I don't know anybody in Afghanistan. And even if I did know anyone, I wouldn't talk to that Afghan ass for 3 hours. I won't talk to my daddy for 3 hours.
Yeah, good old Lee Butters.
Yep.
Yeah,
good old Butters.
Yeah, he's good. So mine is also with Butters. Mine is when he finally tracks down. He's on foot chasing after this Asian guy that was running away along with this other Asian guy who Mel Gibson knew was a part of this, kind of like underground, like the human trafficking.
Yeah.
He was part of this. He knew it because he was on the boat when he saw him. They fought there. Mel Gibson got his ass kicked, and now he's trying to chase after him and catch him. Well, this other guy is also running away, and Butters is trying to catch up to him. He finally catches him, and when he slams him on the ground and is trying to get his, read him his rights, he's like, you have the right to remain silent, so shut the fuck up, okay? You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we'll provide you with the dumbest fucking lawyer on earth. If you get Johnny Cochran, I'll kill you. I loved that scene that was there, and then at the end, he's Mel Gibson is trapped up on top of the roof because he tried to jump across, couldn't get him, and now he's trapped up there and he's hanging.
Yeah.
So they're moving the dumpster. Well, Chris Rock just lets the guy go, and the guy doesn't run away. He's sitting there helping him with the dumpster. He's like had his hands hard down, but he's like helping him with the dumpster, and we're like, what the hell's going on? He's like, he should have ran away. Yeah. And he's helping him with the dumpster, and afterwards you find out that he was just a waiter at the restaurant they were at earlier.
And the funny thing that he said as he's leaving, he goes, I'm gonna get a lawyer. I'm getting Johnny Cochran.
I'm getting Johnny Cochran. He's like, I'm gonna get your ass. Oh, so funny. That was a great scene.
Yeah, that whole scene was good. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then if you had to pick a favorite scene, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
I would be the beginning scene. Yeah. I like that scene with
with a little banter back and forth between
the banter back and forth. You kind of got a gist of what the movie was going to be about.
They talk
if
about,
you haven't seen the first 3.
They talk about how Mel Gibson is having a baby. They do fast forward 9 months after that scene.
Yeah.
And how he's having a baby, and then Mel Gibson tells Danny Glover how his daughter is having a baby, so he's going to be a grandfather, and they're kind of like doing this gunfire all around, flames shooting all around, and that was a good scene. That was a lot of fun.
I liked it because it kind of you kick off the movie. If you've never seen the first 3 like me, you kind of do get a feel of what the movie's going to be about, and you get in their relationship. And if you've seen all 3 movies, you're going to be, they're back.
Yep.
We're doing this again,
And that was such a cool setup. I like the way all the dress that character's in. And then he starts playing hard rock and hard metal in there. And his headphones.
The second he put that on, it reminded me of Chris Pratt and
Oh
yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah. You want to watch that movie right now? Let's see that.
Can we watch Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah,
please?
my favorite scene in the movie was the dentist office scene. So you have Joe Pesci trying to, get in there so he can get the dentist out of the chair, because that's where Uncle Benny is, who is the kind of one of the people that are trying to do the underground trafficking, human trafficking. Yep. I guess all human trafficking would be underground, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you have them, and they finally found out where Uncle Benny was. Benny was in the chair, and they get the dentist out of that office, and Joe Pesci's like saying his mouth hurts so bad, and he needs to get in there, and the dentist comes out, and he starts working on him like that would ever just happen. And then they go in there. You have Butters, Glover, and Gibson. They're all in there with Benny, and they're threatening to use tools on him and stuff like that, but instead they do the nitrous and they start putting laughing gas in him. So he starts laughing, and just that whole interaction where they're all laughing their ass off. You have him he has the mask on for a little bit, takes it off, puts it back on, so he's freaking high as a kite, and he's just cracking up. He slips into like old Chinaman character, and he's like, and I'm just laughing my ass off at his what he's doing. And then, I woke you up. And then then they still have the gas going through the mask, but I don't think they really fully understood what was going on, because they turned it way up, and now the gas is just filling the room, and now they're all laughing their ass off. And they're not really, they were there to interrogate him, and instead they're all just laughing and making jokes the whole time, and everything's hilarious. And that's when Danny Glover finds out that Chris Rock is his son-in-law, and that is going to be the father of his grandbaby. And it is so hilarious, that whole scene, because they keep going back and forth between them cracking up in the chair and Joe Pesci in the other chair, who's getting his teeth worked on without any Novocaine or anything. He's like, and they're in there laughing their asses off, and it's just, the whole thing's just so funny. I really, really enjoyed that scene a lot. I love that. Who's your favorite character?
I'm gonna have to go with Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
Yeah, I just
okay.
I love everything that guy does, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of big roles in movies. He does have a couple movies that he has a big role in. Yeah. But I love the fact
he's
that
usually the secondary character. Even
he's the comic relief.
Goodfellas.
Yeah, exactly. In those movies, he's in the movie Goodfellas. Just take Goodfellas. He's in the movie a lot, but he's not the main character set. You wouldn't put him in top build.
He's a supporting character,
and he's a comic relief.
He's a little comic relief, and also he's he's a
nutcase.
He's like the little dog, and is just fucking
jumping around
crazy, and he's just gonna chop his lips. But I mean, he fucking holds his own in Goodfellas. I mean, that's
definitely,
my fucking clown, my fucking clown.
And while he's doing that, he's funny though.
Yes, it's hilarious.
It's not he's being serious.
It's his voice. I think it's his voice.
Yeah, it has. Yeah,
it's part of it. That's got to be part of it. And plus, he's so tiny, and it's just.
I would go him, and number 2 would be I actually did like Danny Glover in this movie, even though I think he's a little too old to be running around, but I guess that's what the movie's supposed to be about.
So he's on the precipice of retirement.
I guess that's fine. But I do like Danny Glover. I've always liked him. He's a good actor, and I enjoy him in a lot of movies. So
my favorite is going to probably be, I would like to say it'd be Mel Gibson, but it's not. It's Uncle Benny. Uncle Benny in this movie cracks me up just in that scene alone. Unfortunately, Uncle Benny dies in this movie, but he does crack me up. Him and Joe Pesci, they are really funny in this movie. Uncle Benny's only funny in that chair, but during that scene, so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And like I like the interaction back and forth between Uncle Benny and Mel Gibson, where they're talking about the fried rice.
Yeah.
He's like, it's fried rice,
it's
you
fried
prick.
rice.
Like, because he's saying it with his thick Asian accent, and then Mel Gibson's kind of taunting him back and forth. And there's just so many characters that I love, but I would have to say Joe Pesci and Uncle Benny are probably my favorite. And even though they don't have huge roles, they're just so funny and so memorable that I like them. Because even they shut it off right at the beginning on the boat, and Joe Pesci has that shark in there. He's like terrified of the shark. He goes to shoot it, and like Danny Glover's having no. He does not want him shooting. He's going to put a hole in his boat and all that kind of stuff. Mel Gibson goes down there. Oh, how did you get this gun? Is it registered? He's like, yeah, it's registered. I'm a PI. I'm a PI now. And so he goes and he takes it, and he's like, yeah, well, I think you're going to hurt yourself. So he throws it overboard. He's like, no. I mean, just the whole thing. That whole movie is just really good.
That is awesome.
I really enjoyed it a lot. If you had to rate this movie,
I would probably a 5.5.
That's it? 5.5, huh?
Yeah.
If I had to rate this movie, I'd give it a 7. I give it a 7 just because I love these movies in general.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite Lethal Weapon. It might be my least favorite Lethal Weapon. I'd have to watch 3 again. I haven't seen 3 in a while. I do like the first 2. I like them all. I just think that they're just such fun movies.
It got an IMDb. I say it wrong every time. IMDb. It got 118,000 users voted. I got a 6.6.
Yeah, their Metascore, the rating system is a little because you don't have to watch the movie.
Metascore was 37.
Yeah,
37 out of 100.
Yeah,
but they're regular like people doing
users,
the 10-star things. It's a 6.6.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like in line with Rotten Tomatoes, which is 64%, so it's pretty close. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with those, and I liked it. I mean, it'd probably be somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7, but since I don't do 6.75, I'll just give it a 7. Yeah. What movie are you going to give me for next week?
I brought it with you, and I brought it on a whim, and for some strange reason, I thought everybody had seen this movie. Yeah. It's kind of like, to me, like, I just thought it was like one of those movies, but it is a Kevin Bacon classic. And no, it's not Footloose, because I'm pretty sure you've seen Footloose. I
haven't seen the remake. But
Stir of Echoes. Very, very creepy movie because it has a creepy kid in it, and awesome movie.
All right,
you're gonna enjoy that.
Stir of motherfucking Echoes.
Yes, it probably has one of the, in my opinions, one of the most I can't look at the screen scenes in it.
Oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah. So but that's where I'm gonna leave it.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I can't wait for a fucking scary ass movie that I'd sit here and watch by myself in the dark. Awesome.
I'll invite me over and I'll come over and watch it.
Come over whenever you want. I told you they're gonna be renting a house next door. Move in. We can do videos all the time. We're pumping them out every day.
Man, we'd be
do a daily show. Yeah, fucking A.
The Daily Show with the CineBros.
Exactly.
Jon Stewart, he needs a
job soon. He could sit here.
I'm saying he could take his spot.
Oh man, yeah, right. All right, so the movie that I'm going to be giving you, we just kind of talked about it a little bit, was a movie that you've never seen, and it's another 80s movie.
You and your goddamn 80 movies.
Well, you didn't. You told me there's a gap of movies, like a 15-year gap.
Yeah, but there's
that
also
you never
a gap where I didn't watch movies from 2000 to 2005.
Yeah.
I just recently watched a movie last night that apparently all my friends have seen, and I've never seen, and I watched it, and it was awesome. I mean,
Under Siege?
No, it wasn't Under Siege. It's actually the movie I'm gonna put in the bucket. But go with yours.
All right. My movie that I'm going to give you is Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
This is just one of those classic 80s buddy cop movies, another one. But you have Eddie Murphy as kind of like this cop from Detroit who comes into Beverly Hills and has to kind of try and solve a case while he's there. And he kind of links up with two cops, but I'll let the movie play out for you on the screen. I think you'll like this a lot more than you like Under Siege. But who knows? Because it's kind of a crapshoot with you with these 80s and 90s action kind of buddy cop. And
I like Jaws. I liked Alien.
Yeah,
but I didn't like. I think it's more of the really, really popular movies I like the Jaws and the Aliens. And these other movies that are like not wicked popular.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop, they made 3 movies.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you if I like it or not. But it seems like that's the pattern for me. Like the really big blockbuster kind of movies for those days, I enjoy. But these like lower ones, like Under Siege, like it's kind of like one of those movies where a lot of people said they have liked it or did like it or whatever, but it's not like one of those movies where people put it in their top 10 list. Like they wouldn't put Under Siege in their top 10 list unless you're naming top 10 Gary Busey movies. I guess that's the only. He was in Cannonball Run, wasn't he? By the way,
I don't remember.
I think he was in Cannonball Run.
Was he?
Like a very young, like it was either Cannonball Run or there was another one where they raced around the United States. I can't remember.
I don't know.
There was Cannonball Run and there was another one that I don't know. But I remember watching him it was Jackie Chan was in it too, and he drove like the little Mitsubishi car. I'm pretty sure it was Cannonball Run.
Oh my god, I don't even know if I've seen that.
Yeah. Oh, I got to look it up. Because
the one movie that you have to watch then, if you want a good Gary Busey movie,
I don't want a good
is Lethal Weapon 1.
I don't want.
That's the guy that Mel Gibson has a fight scene. It's actually probably his best performance in a movie. Is Lethal
Gary
Weapon.
Busey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Lethal Weapon, that is probably his best performance because he kind of plays like a psychopath, and it's really good. It's really well done.
I need to find this movie.
But yeah, so we have a movie right here from our guest from Cinetalk. She is putting one in the. We know which one it is because we didn't get it from her right away. She sent a text later, and the movie is Despicable Me. That is hers. That we're throwing in the bucket right there. Actually, I have to wait to throw that in there because
calling me.
To put that
I'm raising my hand.
What would you like?
Gumball Rally.
Gumball Rally.
That's the movie that he was in, and it's just like Cannonball Run.
Oh, all right.
I'm glad I got that out of my head now.
Was that with Whoopi Goldberg and everything?
There was so many people in it. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah.
All right, so I'll have you pick out the next movie.
I get to pick it out?
Yeah, you get to pick.
Brad Neff. Better not pick you.
Brad Neff.
You're not on my good list right now.
One of the other rules is
I'm just kidding.
One of the other rules is we can't have the same user
twice in a row.
I
like that rule.
So if you do get Brad Neff, we don't have to use a veto.
Good.
Because you might get Lethal 1, 2, or 3.
Are we gonna throw ones in here? Or? We should throw some in there.
We have a few in there.
We have some in there. I thought we were throwing.
You can throw that movie in there if you want.
I want to throw another movie in there.
Yeah, just here. Pick one out first.
Oh yeah. I'll throw it in after. All right. Oh, there's a lot of.
There's like 50 something in there.
Oh, that's not a. Bick. We're watching Bick. Yeah, there's a lot of tickets in here.
Yeah. That's a good thing. All from Canada.
All right, I can deal with this one.
Oh.
And it's from Bill Pia.
Oh, Billy Pia.
I don't know what the bottom is supposed to mean.
Let me see it. I wrote it, so I just was writing fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it now. It's a choose our own adventure one.
Ooh.
A choose our own adventure one.
I like this.
And it's Austin Powers. We could pick any Austin Powers. Are we gonna? How are we gonna do this? Are we gonna eliminate one at a time? Like, maybe you eliminate one, and I eliminate one, and then whatever one's left.
All right.
So eliminate one.
I'll go first. I'm eliminating number 3.
All right, and which one? What was that called? Can you remember?
I think that was Gold Member.
See, that was the one I wanted to watch.
That's the one where he plays the fat Scottish guy or the fat Irish guy.
That was get
in my belly. Get in my belly. The other white meat.
It was fat. Oh, I can't remember his name.
Get in my belly.
I wasn't a fan of number 2, so I'm gonna have to eliminate number 2.
Number 2,
because mine went up for obviously the number 1 was the first Austin Powers.
Right. I think that makes it good too because that one's the one that we haven't seen in the longest time. I mean that came out a long time ago.
Recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right. So, but regardless, I mean that came out the longest time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that one recently. I watched part of it. Because Elizabeth Hurley's in it, and she's foxy. She's an okay actress too.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I'm very happy.
I like
this one.
The second one is probably one of my favorites. I also like Heather Graham.
The second one
as the
was that with the mini me.
Yeah.
All right, okay, yeah. But I like Goldmember so much better. Like,
yeah, get in my belly.
Here's just like it was.
Baby chilies, baby
he's rolling
backwards.
around and roller skates and everything. Like oh man, that was such a great movie. And I haven't seen. I
haven't seen that in a long time. Do you want to? We can watch that. I'll eliminate one.
No.
No, I don't. We can do that.
No.
Yeah.
We're sticking with what we got. We're watching number one.
I haven't watched that one in a
number
long
one.
time.
And we'll even throw this back in there, so we can pick number 2 or number 3 if we pick the same.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I haven't seen 3. That one I haven't seen in probably 7 or 8 years.
We're sticking with 1. That's our decision. We're doing it.
All right.
Hey, I play by the rules around here. But
no, you don't.
I got a movie that I'm putting in here. This is the movie I watched the other day.
Make sure it's at least 3 years old.
It is. I watched it the other day for the first time. I kept on seeing it on Netflix. And on Netflix, it has 5 stars. Like the full red stars is full up. And it just looks so goofy that I'm like, I don't think I would like that movie.
Yeah.
And I was, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to look it up online and see what Rotten Tomato has and this and that. Got an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a, on the other ones, it was high. It was like, what's his name? Ebert.
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert.
Well, it's just Ebert now, right?
And Roper.
It's just Ebert now, right? Yeah. He gave it, because he ranks it out of 4 stars, I think. And he gave it like 3.5 or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I got to watch this movie. And it's called Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, Shane, this is a movie we have to watch together.
All right.
I wanted to give it to you just so you can watch it.
Okay.
But we have to watch this movie together.
All right, I'm in.
And it's one of those movies where I didn't think a lot of people had watched. And I posted it online, and all my friends were like, dude, that movie's awesome. That's one of my favorite movies. Somebody literally put down, that is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. I said the same thing. I was like, wow, you don't watch too many movies, obviously. But
you have a very specific...
But Steve the Pirate's in it from Dodgeball.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, so right there. And then the girl that's in it is the girl from 30 Rock. And she is incredibly hot. Like,
I
hot.
Don't know. I never watched 30 Rock.
I know you didn't. Yeah. That's too bad.
All right, let's go. Put it in the box. You have that movie. I'm going to put a movie in as well.
Good.
And it's just because I want to see it. And I want to see it badly again. And I want to watch it with you. And it's a movie that I kind of refer to every once in a while when I go, do it. Do it. Is Starsky and Hutch.
I love that movie. I own that movie. And I would watch that all the time.
That was Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
We went to a podcast with one of the guys. He was on the podcast at Douglas movie. He was in that movie. He was the one that battled Ben Stiller in the dance scene.
The dance off, yep.
And he was on the podcast when we were there. So that was cool.
He was. All right, so we have those 2 movies in there that we put in. Please feel free to keep submitting to our email account, which is TheCineBros@gmail.com. I think you can find... No, that's our Facebook stuff down there. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook. All at the same thing. It's all DJ Dizzle82. I actually have a personal separate Facebook page. And that's Chadwick Davis. I talk about movies on it. Not really that much.
Not a lot, but yeah, you do
I
it,
still have it. I've been getting more likes on it for some reason. I don't know why, but I haven't been posting anything. And
they're all from Canada.
I guess so. Like my Canadian friends are up there liking it. And then you can find me on Snapchat at Sir Chadwick82. And I am now on Periscope, and I've been messing around with that a little bit. And you can get to that through my Twitter handle. Watch me goof around a little bit. And I did the concert the other day. I went to what the hell's his name?
Rob Zombie?
Rob Zombie concert the other day, and I did a little periscoping of that.
Nice.
I had about 7 or 8 viewers at one point. I was
nice.
I was happy. Yeah.
That's right. This is what I'm doing. I'm having fun. You're watching me have fun. So you can find me pretty much everywhere at TheCineBros. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere online, Periscope, all that kind of stuff. I just posted my first video, kind of walked down the stairs, came in, showed Chad how excited he was to watch Lethal Weapon 4, and then got into the beginning of the movie. That was the first video that I did. I did it untitled because I have never used it before, so now I'll know how to title my video.
Gotta throw a title up there.
But yeah, so that you can find me everywhere like there. The only other thing to do really is to sign off now. we're ready to rock. We're
Yeah,
ready to be done for this
I
today.
think we're done, yeah.
All right. So we will sign off with just saying what Danny Glover always says in these movies. I'm getting too old for this shit. All right, guys. We'll see you guys again on the next episode of Movies That Hurt So Good.
If you watch the show on YouTube, please click that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you watched on iTunes, please rate and review us. And thank you for watching.